night was pitch black, save for the silver sliver of the moon that hung ominously in the sky. A distant howl echoed through the dense woods, sending chills down 13-year-old Luke's spine. He had always felt that something about his family was different, but tonight, the air was thick with secrets waiting to be unveiled. Luke had never been afraid of the dark. Growing up in the secluded town of Hollow Creek, he had spent countless nights exploring the woods surrounding his family's old, creaky house. But as he lay in bed that night, he couldn't shake the feeling of being watched. The howls had been getting louder and more frequent over the past month, and there was something unnervingly familiar about them. His parents, always protective, had become even more secretive. Whispers behind closed doors, hurried phone calls, and the occasional glimpse of their worried faces left him with a sense of impending doom. He would often catch his father, a stern and silent man, staring out the window with a look of deep concern, his eyes reflecting the moonlight. One rainy afternoon, while rummaging through the attic in search of his old baseball glove, Luke stumbled upon an old, dusty trunk. It was locked, but curiosity got the better of him. Using a bobby pin he found lying around, he managed to pop the lock open. Inside, he found an assortment of yellowed papers, strange symbols, and an old leather-bound journal. As he flipped through the journal, he discovered entries written by his great-grandfather, detailing strange occurrences and transformations. The entries spoke of a curse, a bloodline tainted by the moon, and a secret that had to be kept at all costs. The last entry was dated exactly 50 years ago. The full moon rises tonight. The beast within stirs. God help us all. The next full moon was only days away, and Luke could feel a change in the air. His parents' behavior had grown more erratic, and his father had taken to locking himself in the basement for hours on end. Determined to uncover the truth, Luke confronted his parents. "Mom, Dad, I found great-grandpa's journal," he said, his voice trembling. "What is this curse he talks about?" His mother looked at him with eyes filled with fear and sadness. "Luke, there are things you don't understand. Our family. We have a history, a legacy that we hoped you would never have to bear." Before she could say more, his father emerged from the basement, his face pale and drawn. "It's time, Sarah. He needs to know." Under the light of the waxing moon, Luke's parents led him to the basement. It was a room he had never been allowed to enter. The walls were lined with ancient books, jars of strange herbs, and silver chains. In the center of the room was a large, circular symbol etched into the floor. "Luke," his father began, "our family is cursed. We are werewolves. For generations, we have fought to control the beast within us, to protect those we love. But the curse, it's in our blood." Luke's mind raced. It all made sense now, the howls, the secrecy, the strange behavior. Am I going to become one of them?" he asked, his voice barely above a whisper. His mother placed a gentle hand on his shoulder. "We don't know, sweetheart. The curse doesn't affect everyone. But we will do everything in our power to protect you." As the full moon rose that night, Luke felt an unsettling energy course through his veins. His skin prickled, his senses heightened, and an uncontrollable rage bubbled within him. He collapsed to the floor, writhing in pain as his bones began to shift and elongate. His parents watched in anguish, unable to help. "Remember who you are, Luke," his father urged. "You are stronger than the beast." Through the haze of pain and fear, Luke managed to hold onto a shred of his humanity. The transformation was excruciating, but he fought to remain in control. He could feel the beast clawing at the edges of his mind, but he refused to let it take over completely. Despite Luke's struggle, the beast within was relentless, overpowering his will. His vision blurred, his humanity slipping away as the primal instincts took over. He could hear his parents' desperate pleas, but their voices were drowned out by the unquenchable hunger and rage. In a horrifying instant, the beast broke free. Luke's last shred of consciousness faded into darkness as the werewolf within him emerged fully. The creature that once was Luke turned on his parents, unable to distinguish friend from foe. The basement echoed with their screams, cut short by the savage violence of the beast. When Luke awoke the next morning, he was drenched in blood, the memories of his transformation and the carnage he wrought flooding back in horrifying clarity. The bodies of his parents lay broken and lifeless at his feet. As he stumbled out of the basement, he was met by his mother, alive, unscathed, and eerily calm. "Mom!" Luke's voice was barely a whisper. "What happened?" Her eyes, cold and calculating, locked onto his. "Your father was weak, Luke. He couldn't control the beast, and he was a danger to us. I did what needed to be done." Luke recoiled in horror. You planned this?" "I did," she confirmed, her voice devoid of emotion. "The curse is a gift, Luke, a power that can be harnessed, but only by those strong enough to wield it. Your father was not strong enough, but you have the potential to be greater than any of us." As the days passed, Luke found himself increasingly isolated. His friends, sensing something was wrong, tried to reach out, but his mother kept them at bay. She filled his mind with dark tales of betrayal and danger, convincing him that the world outside was a threat to their kind. One by one, his friends began to disappear. Their bodies were found mutilated in the woods, the marks of a beast clear on their flesh. Luke's heart ached with guilt and confusion, but his mother was always there, whispering in his ear. "They would have betrayed you, Luke," she would say. "They were weak, unworthy of your trust." The full moon rose once more, casting its silver light over Hollow Creek. Luke, now a shadow of his former self, felt the familiar stirrings of the beast within. But this time he did not resist. He embraced it, the rage and sorrow fueling his transformation. As the beast emerged, his mother stood before him, her eyes gleaming with pride. "You are ready, my son. Together we will rule this town. The weak will bow before us, or they will perish." But as the beast's instincts took over, a flicker of Luke's humanity fought back. He saw the truth in his mother's eyes, the manipulation, the lies, the murders. With a growl of defiance, he turned on her, the beast's fury unleashed. The battle was brutal, the basement once again echoing with screams. But this time, it was not the screams of a loving family torn apart by a curse, but the screams of a son breaking free from his mother's malevolent grip. As the dawn broke, Luke stood alone in the basement, the bodies of his parents at his feet. The curse had claimed them both, but in different ways. His father, a victim of the beast. His mother, a victim of her own twisted ambition. Luke, now fully aware of the darkness within him, fled into the woods. The howls of the cursed echoed through the night, a grim reminder of the monstrous legacy that would never be broken. While wandering through the dense forest, Luke stumbled upon an old, decrepit cabin. Inside, he found a dusty mirror that seemed to beckon him. As he looked into it, the reflection was not his own. Instead, it showed a younger version of his mother, her eyes filled with a malevolent hunger. The reflection spoke, "I am not dead, Luke. I will never die. The curse is my creation, my legacy. I am in you, and I will always be with you. You cannot escape me." Luke's mind reeled as he realized the horrifying truth. His mother had never truly intended to control the beast. She had intended to become it, to live on through him. The curse was not just a transformation. It was a possession. She had found a way to transfer her consciousness into her offspring, ensuring her immortality. Luke, now fully aware of the sinister depth of his mother's manipulation, felt her presence gnawing at his sanity. Every full moon, he would hear her voice, feel her influence trying to take over. The battle was no longer just against the beast within, but against the insidious will of his mother. As the full moon rose once more, Luke's lone figure could be seen standing on the ridge, his eyes reflecting the silver light. He was no longer a boy, no longer bound by family. He was a beast, a predator, and the night was his domain.